So what was your famous vacation?
I don't remember it.
You don't have one, do you?
No. You keep asking me that question, and I don't know.
Grand
Vacations are a thing of the
Canyon,
past, and
Rapid City, Wyoming, Tequamatum Falls.
I liked when I went hunting with you and Wade.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So those were probably the and that's when we took Jeff, and Jeff got
Right.
a
Cow elk.
cow elk, a little one, and then he got a what do you call those goats?
Oh, antelope.
Antelope.
Yeah.
And he made a good shot on that antelope.
So what did Grandpa Collins do for his first job?
He worked at Ford's,
Ford Motor?
that I remember, yeah.
What did he do for Ford's?
I don't know.
Okay. Assembly line? You don't know?
I don't know.
Okay. And then after Ford's, what do you go to work for?
All I know, the last job he has was cast lithographing.
Right.
And he got that job through the guy across the street. And Dad was, he was pretty dependable. He never, he always showed up every time.
So when did but he had a gas station too.
Oh, yeah, we had, well, he cashed in on my ability to work gas stations, and I knew everything about him from Steve's Mobile Gas. And then he got a Sinclair, and then he got a Golf. So
And that was
it was
after
easy to work on cars in those days.
it was yeah, the rod brakes, cable brakes,
The hydraulics didn't come out till '39.
hydraulic brakes.
Hydraulic brakes.
Yeah. So what was the most common repair at the shop?
Well, in the wintertime, the gas lines would freeze up because there'd be water in the tanks.
Right.
And then you have to thaw them out.
So you put them inside where they were heated?
Put them inside, then you heat the gas line up, and then you'd run a fuel pump until the gas come out. Then you knew the line was clear.
Okay.
But that was quite common.
So, but you didn't heat it up, the gas line. You just let it warm up in the shop.
No, we would heat them up with a blowtorch.
Really?
Yeah.
The gas lines?
Yeah.
And they didn't blow?
No. No,
Wow.
you'd feel them where they're cold.
Right. Oh, okay. Okay.
Or the low spot.
And you
in the
just
line.
put a little propane torch on them or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So that was number one. What was another repair? Brakes or tires?
Well, tune-ups, we put plugs and points in them.
Plugs
And
and
those
points.
were easy to put in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those were the straight sixes or straight eights for the Packards. So, but they were a pleasure to work on
Yeah.
and simple.
So he worked for Ford's, and then he opened up his auto
Well,
golf station.
I don't know why he decided on a gas station. He had a good station at that Clover Lawn, West Chicago, and you saw that. And he's a pretty good businessman, but he got taken for checks for probably I probably seen about $3,000 in bad checks
Wow.
that he got stuck for.
Oh wow.
And but I really don't know that much.
So after the gas station, then he went to the lithograph place.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting a lot of Christmas paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd give big rolls of Christmas paper.
Yeah.
So
And what did Grandma Collins do?
she never drove.
I know that. Yeah.
She never drove, and she was a housewife, period. And she raised 4 kids.
And how many houses did they live in? Just one in Detroit and one in Lobdell?
No, they lived at 9947 Steel, which they rented. Now, my dad rented that after I was down on Thaddeus Street in Detroit. What I remember about Thaddeus was that there's a lot of Hungarian people down there. And I used to go around at Christmas time. I forget, I wrote it down. There was a certain day that the Hungarians, if you come and spray perfume on the girls,
Yeah.
and then they give you something, and it was kind of nice. It was kind of nice. So,
So
but
Steel
my dad got us out of there, and then we moved on.
out of Steel or Thaddeus?
Steel,
Okay, what's Thaddeus again?
huh?
What was Thaddeus? You said
Thaddeus was in Del Rey. That's where we lived.
is that a town?
Yeah, it was called part of Del Rey. It's part of Detroit. So, but there was a lot of Hungarians there, and I used to walk down to the show on Jefferson and watch all those early westerns.
Tom Pick.
Huh?
Tom Pick.
Yeah, Tom Mix, Bob Steele, Johnny McBrown.
How about Charlie Chaplin?
No, I was not much of a fan of his.
Okay, you weren't? Okay, because they just made a movie about his life.
Yeah. No, he was
10 years
talented.
ago.
He had a lot of talent, but he was a comedian, and it wasn't until later life that he made that I appreciated some of his movies that he made about Hitler and stuff.
Oh, yeah. So after Steel, you moved to Sorrento?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Al Shapiro bought that house that we were renting on Steel, and I used to go down and watch him reload. And he was one of the pistol good shots, and he wound up chief of detectives in Detroit PD, and then he wound up and DeHoco is in charge of the whole thing.
Okay.
And I knew his wife, and he had two girls, and he was Jewish. He was Jewish, and so.
So you found that 69 Mustang parked somewhere. Was that Bonadale's?
Bonadale's, that was on 5 Mile,
5 Mile?
by just west of Telegraph, and he took it away from his son. His son was using it for racing. Then a guy from AAA told me about it, and that's how I got it, and got it for you.
You showed it, because you showed it to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, we saw it. I remember being on 5 Mile east
Yeah.
of Telegraph there. It was parked in the back, and
yeah.
you said you can get this for $350.
I don't know what.
That's what we paid.
Is that what we paid?
Yeah, I remember that.
Because it was he was racing at some place.
Yeah, he had the front end cut down, so
Yeah.
it'd be,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you remember about the riots?
I don't, I never was down there. We went down there, and but anyway, I knew some guys that got killed down there, and it was a pretty. That was in what, 68,
I think so.
and that was pretty bad. But
Right.
now,
What years was it good?
probably before the war,
30s?
the late 30s and early 40s. It was because I remember my ma taking me down to Hudson's, and then I remember when I was with so I don't know.
But what do you remember about Hudson's?
Oh, it was a nice store, just before the war, and then after that, Detroit went bananas, and that was it. But Detroit, I remember riding on the streetcars probably with my mom or somebody, I don't know. And we would go down Grand River on the streetcars and
Is that on a trail? Were they on tires or on a rail?
on a rail.
Oh, they had rails.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
they had rails.
They don't have them anymore.
No, they had safety zones where people would stand out in the middle of the road, covered by posts, and they would get you could get on the streetcar for 10 cents, you know.
So what do you mean post? Covered on post?
Well, they were about 3 foot high, and they were cement in them, and they were cast iron, you know. That would protect them
Oh,
from
the
the
people.
cars
Oh, okay.
while they're standing out in the middle of the road. So,
Oh, okay.
but
Because the cable cars were in the middle of the road?
Huh?
Were they in the middle of the road?
yeah, that's where the train,
Yeah.
the tracks were, and there was 2 sets of tracks. The streetcars were going one way and then the other way.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the other one I remember was Jim Hoy. Now Jim Hoy was chief, a big shot in the police department in Detroit, and his son Jim was my age, and he had a horse, and I loved horses then, and he used to ride up and down the alleys with his horse.
Oh,
Well,
really?
it finally gave out and died. Anyway, Jim Hoy took us to the ball game one time, and he took us right down,
On horse?
on Grand River
Okay.
on a car, and he had the sirens wailing and everything. So, but
How old were you then? 15?
I don't know, maybe 10, 12.
Oh,
you know.
okay.
And he then Jim, he becomes director of traffic, I guess. And but I was in his house over in Ward, and the old man had slot machines and all that stuff they confiscate, you know.
Yeah.
And but anyway, Jim become a policeman when I did, and we met at 7 Mile in Farmington in the wee hours in the morning on a chase, and we exchanged greetings, and then he was was really trying to get close to the lieutenant there, you know. So anyway, what happened to him is he subsequently quit, and his dad got him a beer garden on Michigan Avenue, and one night going home after closing the place, he was pretty well loaded. He drove right under a truck and killed him. So,
Wow.
and he was my age.
That was his name was Hoy?
James Hoy Jr. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So that just shows you can't have your cake and eat it. That's all.
Yeah. So what do you were on a chase at 7 Mile? What were you chasing?
I don't know, somebody.
Speeder?
Huh?
Speeder?
Yeah, I guess so.
Did you ever
And
catch
there
him?
was a lot of, we didn't have that many Livonia police, but there was a lot of Detroit there. And but remember, Detroit used to be a good police department in the early years. They keep a lid on everything.
Not anymore.
I think you can put that away now.
What do we got here? This car here. 99 Buick, Park Avenue.
Yeah, red one.
Looks pretty good from here.
Well, I try to keep it good. But then we're in between looking for getting another car, and I don't know.